I think for me, it's the approach to put two mostly separated worlds, which is like quantum physics and religion, in this case Sufism, together and look like in a very circling sense for the connections or the disconnections. And therefore I really like now the part also with the interviews, the two monitors, where you get these two voices by a religious person speaking and then a physicist. And it's, I mean, of course you can compare it directly, but this is also the power of art, like to search for other approaches to get a kind of a truth, or make visible also the gray areas between stuff and not saying it's like that. And I think this works quite well, this installation.
And of course it's about the movement, the spin. And what I like very much in the work is that the spectator is in the center of the work now, and is as in the spin, not moving so much, but the work is spinning around the person. So he or she is in the very center of it in this moment.
I don't know what spin is for me, because I mean this was a very long process to find out about what is spin, and I think fascinates me still the contradiction of movement, the stillness and the very fast movement, which has no direction, or it has a direction, but it has no end and no beginning, and it's like self-contained. And yeah, there's so many things inside, and it's so complex. And also, like, of course, after I did the project, like, so many people came to me and said, yeah, do you know this person or that thing that's also so connected to what you did? And it's like such a huge field of research and doing, but at the same time it's also very difficult to find this one, or the connection between it, because I mean it's also not interesting to just put spinning things together. Or, yeah. I thought a lot about this contradictions, which then also dissolve into something togetherness, which I think is something that, that we as human beings have always these contradictions, but at the same time we always, even if we don't want to, dissolve at the same time the contradictions. And I think that's a very interesting field of tension, especially in systems of explaining and thinking about the world.
Yeah, it's kind of an experience that can be very individual, and of course there's also the connection to spiritual things, and then we have anthropology, which is kind of the science part. And for me spin is really this duality of systems that are part of humanity, of course.
It's also because of the physical experience. In Sufism, it's very obvious that this the sema, the dance, is creating some kind of special spiritual way of being, or moment of being, that helps us to understand, or helps people doing it understand the world with this certain method, if I want to explain it with this rather scientific term. And also, again, the spectator is perceiving it through the body, and not only in a cognitive way, but also in a physical way, and maybe coming into a certain state or condition of being and understanding it.
Initially, I wanted to make an installation with the concept of spin when I started the project, but I thought it to be a 180 degrees installation. And then in the process of research, it just became first a film, and it was like I think it had a kind of it started to have a narration which was very much research based and essayistic form, which was for me the kind of way I thought about the spin initially. And so I put also the parts of the interviews into that kind of dramaturgy, and it was more the spectator to follow a kind of linear narrative also. And I think this was due to my first process of the research, and also a very important process for me. Also to understand what I want with this figure, and to maybe I think it's more obvious to do it as an installation because it's like a moving sculpture, or it's like a movement in space. It's a kind of sculptural moment. It has something. It's very much related to space. Also the Sufism dance, and also physics is somehow related to space, and then there's also architecture as a kind of model or temple or a way of construction of a model of thinking or construction of our systems in the world. But then I think it was like a counterpart to do a film which has a narrative and a dramaturgy where one has to follow. And after this, but I still had the feeling I want to do an installation which is more more physically experienceable for the spectator, or in a very different way than the cinematic experience. And I was very happy to be able to do this now, and almost 4 years later. So it was really cool to have the chance. As I said about the architecture, is I think for me an important element of the film, as also of the installation, as it's like a materialization of somehow concepts or ideas or manifestation, especially in religions like temples, but also I think if you look at the CERN apparatuses, or where they have the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. Somehow, for me, this is another symbol or image for finding manifestations for things, and I think the approach of the research and also of my process in this time was that that I also try to understand, and that you get to a point where I was really so confused and everything seemed to be not making sense. And I mean, especially my own research. But a lot of these ideas and images that you produce start to dissolve, or so this is this the animation also, which is in the which is also the psychedelic moment of the work, where you open up for something totally new and different, but maybe you don't know what it will be or what it is like or what it can be, which is also into science fiction.